What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is part 3 of restoring this stump grinder into working condition. As you remember, in part 1, this engine was cracked and the block was all cracked up. And in part 2, well, part 1 we tore it all apart. Part 2, we basically built up the new engine and put it back onto here. So things might have changed a little bit since last video when we saw we got this thing running on the starting fluid, and then it blew up in my hand, and then that was a whole. Go watch that video if you haven't seen it already. But things look a little different in this video than I did last time. Basically, just sat around all day yesterday and rewired this entire machine. So now we have a new ammeter right here, and a new key switch. So now when I turn the key, the ammeter goes up, ignition coil's on, then it starts. Got a new solenoid over here, got everything rewired. Everything used to be, there was a key switch, first position, and then you had a toggle switch for the starter, which is kind of strange. But now it's just all on one key switch. Then I had a new choke cable because the old one, for some reason, just snapped off. So went to the Concals the other day, the junkyard, and found this off a lawnmower, cut it down, and now it's a new choke cable. And I also went ahead and put all the sheet metal back into place. There was one bolt that got stripped out up here. Then I went back and retapped it and drilled it out and put that back together. So now that's all good. New solenoid, like I said. So now, today, all that's left to do is pretty much drain the gas tank. It's full of old gas. I'm just going to put new fuel line on because I have a ton of it. Find a new fuel filter. I'll then make sure the fuel pump works. I'll then clean the carburetor out if it needs cleaned. I'll then put the air cleaner back on here. And then start it up for the first time on gasoline and see if everything functions as it should. And if it does, then when it freezes up in a couple days, we'll take it back to the woods. I'll then grind a couple stumps out. So, in this video, we should be grinding stumps unless something blows up. Let's start replacing fuel. Alright guys, so now I'm going to go ahead and drain the gasoline on this thing. So I put the oil pan under here, or gas pan, whatever you want to call it. Now I'm just going to take a wrench and unscrew this drain plug. I stuck a stick in here, it's about half full of fuel, so we'll see. Gosh. Okay, you can slow it down any time now. Like sometime here soon it can be slowing down. That would be nice. Like really nice. Okay, please stop. Come on. Please, please, please stop. Okay, fine. Well, that was a close one. As you can see, we don't have much space left in the tub, but it's just dripping now, so that was close. The drain right here. You know what the worst thing about that is? There's a drain plug in that pan somewhere. And now I gotta find it. Ha ha ha. A magnet. Let's find this thing. Oh, I can't believe it. I found it. This thing is awesome. Alright guys, I flushed out the entire tank and put it maybe a couple gallons or so of gasoline in here. I redid all the fuel line up here, put a different fuel filter on there. Then I got the fuel pump primed and the fuel pump worked. And now I'm seeing I pulled the drain plug out of the bottom of the carburetor bowl and no fuel's coming out of there, so I just bypassed the fuel pump completely and just put compressed air in the tank, then forced fuel straight through the fuel pump, and it still didn't come out, so I'm pretty sure the carburetor float is stuck. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the carburetor off. I'll then pull the carburetor apart and clean the whole carburetor. Alright guys, after I cleaned the carburetor out, and then I bled the fuel system again, and then fuel came right out of that hole, so now the fuel pump should be able to take over. I went ahead and put the air cleaner back on, you saw in the time lapse, so I got all that hooked up and nice and tight. So now, theoretically, we have spark, we have compression, we have fuel, we should have fuel, so in theory, this thing should run, so let's give it a shot. Alright guys, this is the next day. The battery charged up all overnight on the turbocharger, and now I have it hooked up to my battery booster here. And before you guys in the comments roast me for putting that on the battery and letting it sit, that battery is basically junk. I mean, it does kind of work, but it's basically bad. So I don't feel too bad hooking, 100 amps to it when I'm cranking over. Anyway, I since then pulled all the spark plugs out. They were pretty full of carbon, so I put on the wire brush and sanded them all down and got them all clean, so hopefully that'll help. Last night I did see it was flooded, so we're basically going to try to crank this thing over and see if it'll fire up today. So fully charged battery, fresh spark plugs, should be good fuel. Let's see what happens. I have a theory that my fuel pump's not doing anything. Okay. It runs. Best flywheels. Alright guys, so fired up on gasoline. It ran fairly decent. Didn't really want to idle, so I'm going to have to mess with that some more, or at least idle really quickly. But this flywheel nut I've tightened up with a big pipe wrench and a crescent wrench. I mean, they're 2-foot long wrenches, so I mean it's tight, but it's not like tight. So before this thing basically runs away or whatever, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 giant pipes on this things and get this thing really tight. Alright, just tightened up this nut with, I used that pipe right there. It's about a 6-foot-ish long pipe on the crescent wrench with a pipe wrench holding the shaft. Got this thing nice and tight. And then I went ahead and folded down, let's see right there, you can kind of see I folded those 2 little tabs over to hopefully keep that nut from backing itself off. I'm going to go ahead and put that screen that was on here, right here. Go ahead and bolt this thing back up on there so I'm safe when I'm standing here, and then we'll fire it up again. I'm probably mess with the idle a little bit and see if I can get this idle a little lower, but yeah, then set it up again and then see what happens. Just got this nice screen back on here, and I looked up here to adjust the throttle and linkage. Went to push on this little throttle wane here, and it appears to be stuck. And here we go. This intake boot is rubbing against the governor arm. So now it's loose. So I guess I could probably actually put this thing back on here, because now that I know it runs, I could probably put this back on here. Sometimes it's the simplest things. fuel pump's bad. Alright guys, so I had this extra fuel pump laying around off the other engine I had. So I took it apart. Basically these go in here like that, create the fuel pump. So I took it apart and I realized that this rod right here on this pump is longer than the one I had in there. Or this one is shorter than the one that was on there. And it operates on a little cam that pushes this thing in and out to pump fuel, and then it pushes against the diaphragm inside of here, and then it pumps fuel. So what happens is, what was happening while I didn't get any fuel from it was this thing was going up and down, but it was already like up to here. So it was just going like this and it wasn't pumping anything. So I swapped this bracket out with the other pump off this pump, which is shorter, so now, because that was the one from that engine. So now it goes from here to there, back and forth like that, instead of from here like this. And now we got all kinds of fuel going to the carburetor. So let's try to fire it up again, and this time it should continue to run. Alright guys, got the tractor hooked to the stump grinder. I'm going to take it out now and see what happens. Check it out. The stump grinder is 100% complete, minus blowing off all this junk down here. But physically, this thing is finished. So now, it's dark outside as you can see right now, but when the fields freeze up in the next couple of days, hopefully, we can go back to the woods, hook this into the tractor back to the woods, and try this thing out. So I will see you guys then. Alright guys, it is a couple days since I last saw you guys with the stump grinder, and check it out. It is like 23-ish degrees outside. Ground, I believe it's frozen. So, let's go hook the tractor up, hook it up to that stump grinder, move all the stuff out of here, and let's go grind stumps. There used to be a stump about that big sitting there half an hour ago. Now it's shavings. This thing is so awesome, it goes so fast.
We had the Vermeer SC30TX, a little 22 horsepower track machine. That was pretty awesome, but it was kind of slow. This thing is just insanely quick. So that's stuff all done. I've been working all day back here. Sun's about ready to go down, but I've done 5-ish stumps this morning and this afternoon. So now we're going to head on over to this stump right here. I haven't been filming because I'm on a GoPro Hero 6 and this thing doesn't last very long, especially in the cold weather. So I've been, you know, it's like 22 out here, so I've been not filming very much. But this time you're going to see this stump removed in about, I'm going to say 30-ish minutes. First stump is up, what's happening. So without any further ado, let the grinding begin!
Wow.
Alright guys, that is going to be it for part 3 of rebuilding the stump grinder. The thing works, and it works really, really well. We ground out about 14 really good sized stumps in just over a day and a half, which is really, really good because our other stump grinder, our Vermeer SC30TX, would do that in like 3 days. So this thing was like way over twice as fast. Super awesome, and really, really happy with it. Now, this thing is currently up for sale on Marketplace, which is where I bought it from. Basically, we were going to keep it, but then something else came along, and actually something else is sitting right over here in the garage, which I'm not showing you yet. But anyway, this is going to help pay for that in the future. So, to the previous owner of this who sold this to me, thank you so much for giving me this amazing opportunity to rebuild this thing and make a little bit of money. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. And yeah, so in a couple episodes from now, you will see which is sitting right over here. And yeah, I can't wait to guys to show that to you. But first, we got this thing to fix up, little 150cc dirt bike, which you'll see in the next episode. Until next time, thanks for watching Cyber Technology. Be sure to subscribe and like this video, and I will see you next time. It's so funny looking. Seriously, thank you.